Howdy sketchies. It's really early in the morning, but today is ArtSnacks day, so let's take a look at what's inside. So I'm recording this at like 5:30 in the morning because little people decimate everything. So I'm trying to get this done before they wake up, which is kind of hard to do. But let's open this ArtSnacks box and see what we've got inside. I'm not sponsored by ArtSnacks in any way. I pay for these little beauties with my own money, so these are my personal opinions. But if you would like to get an ArtSnacks box, you can visit this link down below. It's artsnacks.co, not com, and you can order your own. It's only $20 a month. In the US, international, you've got to pay for shipping, but hey, you still get some cool art supplies. All right, the box is open. Let's see what we got this month. Like always, we have a ArtSnacks sticker, some candy because it's ArtSnacks after all, menu card, and let's see, this looks like a little tiny sketchbook. How cute is that? And then all the stuff that's in the green wrapping paper. We've got a whole bunch of stuff, you guys. So the first thing that we got this month is a Paint Effects. It's a Kuretake paint pen, and I got mine in 1.5 milliliters, and it looks like it's in blue. The second thing that's in here, or actually the next couple things that is in here, is the Tombow ABT pens. I got red, green, and orange. It looks like they have a brush nib and then a fine point nib. Oh, it's kind of hard to hold both of these. So cool beans. And then lastly, I got 2 General's Pastel Chalk pencils. Look at how pretty those are. And I got mine in a light blue and a sea green. So a lot of coloring stuff this month. So now that we've got all of our art supplies that we got in this month's ArtSnacks, including this little guy, we are now going to test them out and see what we can make with them. So let's get sketching. Okay, so let's bust into some of these art supplies. I have the menu card right here. You can kind of take a look. Oh my gosh, there's a cute little, this is the same pattern that is on the little book. But let's pull these out all real quick. And let's take a look at some of this fun stuff. All right, so first up on the list is actually this cute little sketchbook. I got one of these last year. I want to say around the same time for the same ArtSnacks box, except it just had a different cover. I really enjoyed it. I do still carry it around with me. I haven't quite filled it up because I use it whenever I'm out on a restaurant. But this is the ArtSnacks Endemic, I hope I said that right, mini sketchbook. It's a limited edition, so you can tell by the ArtSnacks pencil right here. And it is a little notebook company, and they do super cute little stuff. They do, like, there's this little mini notebook, and I'm sure that they have a whole lot of other ones, but this retails for about $5, and I mean that's actually pretty cool. I mean the cover on it feels like really nice. The page quality is really great for just a little sketchbook. I know from experience from last year's little mini sketchbook that the paper does not handle markers really well. It's going to bleed into the next piece, guaranteed. So probably you might want to like carry around a little tiny piece of paper to put in through the back if you plan on using markers at all. But this is a super cute little sketchbook. I really love the design on it. Oh, I love it. It's super cute. I probably won't be using it for this ArtSnacks challenge, just because it's tiny and it's really hard to film tiny stuff. So super cute little design. And then the next thing we have is the Painty FX, and I've actually already opened this because I know that sometimes when you get pins like this, especially in the mail, they pressurize and they'll like explode everywhere from transport. So I had already opened it and I already used it to like test it out, and it definitely exploded everywhere. You can kind of see some paint on here. I mean, all it took was just a tiny little dab on the paper and it everywhere. But the color on it is absolutely beautiful. I really like the Painty FX pens. They're really great, and I got a really nice light blue. So we'll set that aside, and just so you know, this retails for $3.60, and that's actually a pretty good price. I haven't been able to find these like singles at a lot of the art stores that I frequent, so to me that's a really good price. All right, so next up we have the General's Multi-Pastel Chalk Pencils, and I already sharpened them and I've already kind of played around with them a little bit, but they are pastel chalk pencils, blah blah blah, and I got a sea green and a light blue. Now I've used in the past pastel chalk pencils. I don't know if it was the same brand, I'm not for sure, but I wasn't a real big fan of them because I hate when you are sharpening any kind of pencil and it constantly breaks in the casing, and then it just feels like you're losing more of the pencil because you'll start to draw and the lead or the pencil, graphite or anything like that will start to wiggle around in there, and it's very frustrating. So I had a lot of bad experiences with pastel chalk pencils with that. So I'm hoping that these are going to be a little bit different. These retail for $1.70 each. So let's hope that these turn out a little bit different. And the three things in the box that I was super excited for was these Tombow ABT dual brush pens. I see these a lot. I follow a lot of lettering artists on Instagram, and this seems to be the pen of choice. And we got 3 of them this month, and everybody got different colors. I got a green, orange, and like a blood red, and these retail for $3.19 each. So I mean, this is $9 right here just in my hand, and they're dual pens. So let's bust one open here. So here is the brush tip, and so you know, it doesn't bend very much, but it's pretty stiff. So these are excellent for hand lettering. You're not going to have any crazy, it's going to be consistent. And then you've got a felt tip pen end, and it's a nice nub pen. So, and it looks like the colors match pretty well with what's on the cap. So these are our art supplies. Well, and this beauty, but I'm not going to be using that, so I'm going to put that aside. But I mean, these look really great. I really love the colors that I got. Normally I get stuck with like either all blues, all greens, like all of one color, or they're colors that they're so light that they're almost impossible to really use. And this time I got a really nice, well-rounded color set here. So let's bust in to doing some fun artwork. First things first, I am laying down my sketch in a Prismacolor Coal Erase pencil. I really love using this pencil when I have unknown variables, like how is the ink or the watercolor or the paint going to interact with a traditional graphite pencil. I've never really had a bad experience messing with the Coal Erase pencil with some unknown art supplies that I've never used before. I decided to do a cute little kitty cat in a raincoat, and I went through quite a few sketch layouts of this character before I decided that you guys don't need to see me record it like 50 bazillion times because it just was not turning out. And trust me, it was not turning out right. So I skipped all that, went ahead and drew it, so let's get into the ArtSnacks supplies. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the Tombow pens. They're really great. I really love them. They work a lot like a watercolor pen. I mean, once it dries on the paper, it's going to be much more difficult to get that ink, that watercolor feel. So you have to work fairly quick if you want to get it to where it spreads out a little bit. But if you get it quick enough, and I'm not meaning like immediately, but within reason, you can get a really nice watercolor effect, and I really enjoyed that. The brush tip on it isn't super flexible, so you're going to have a nice consistency when you do hand lettering or outlining. And as you can see here really well, when I was doing the grass with the green pen, it just, ooh, that nice watercolor feel, it just was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Now, believe it or not, the big favorite out of the box this month was actually this painty pen. So mine got pressurized in it moving, so when I first pumped it, it everywhere, all over the place. So I had quite a bit of the paint out. And because of that, I decided to use that to my advantage and actually just like pump it directly on the paper, get a nice little puddle, and then move it around with a paintbrush so I could fill in large areas. Now, the ink / paint, I believe, is oil based, at least from what the feel of it on the paintbrush was. It does paint on like metal, wood, plastic, everything, so I would assume it has to be oil. If you do the technique that I'm doing right now with the paintbrush, please bear in mind that it'll probably ruin the paintbrush. It's going to dry very quickly, it's going to get hard, and it's just, use a crummy paintbrush. This one was an old one that had been cut for some odd reason, so I didn't feel bad about throwing it out. But I really did like the texture and the color that the Paint Effects pen gave, and I'm actually kind of curious to see how well it would do on metal and seeing how long it's going to last on metal. Now, I'm going to give my little 2 cents about the least favorite supply this month, and it was the pastel pencils. I have a love-hate relationship with pastel pencils. I can never really get them to work like your good old-fashioned traditional square pieces of chalk. It just didn't really work out for me. I would have to press really, really hard to get the color I felt. It didn't really go on all that smooth, and in relation to having to press hard with the pastel pencil, it would break in the casing, so it just didn't really work out for me all that well. It wasn't my favorite art supply in the box. I think it's because I already had a little bit of a background using the pastel pencils in college when I was testing out doing some artwork with pastel. You can get some nice fine lines with them, but as you can see, I had to sharpen that stupid pencil a lot just to get it to where it wouldn't break, because it just kept breaking and it wasn't very pretty. And I just felt like the color wasn't as strong as it is with the traditional square or, just your traditional pieces of pastel chalk, which I use, and I mean, they're cheap enough, so it's not really my thing using these pencils. Now, going with that, I would definitely say that this month's box was really well-rounded. I'm so happy that I didn't get all of the same color. I normally get all of the same shade, so it was really awesome. I got to really experiment with the different colors that I got and the different supplies that I got. And overall, I would say that this month's box was a pretty big success for me, except for the colored pastel pencils, but the Tombow pens, I'm not a huge person on lettering, but I do enjoy trying to learn how to do it. So I'm probably going to be doing a lot of lettering with these pencils or these pens. And I really, really do love the Paint Effects pen. Now, this supply was not in the ArtSnacks box. This is my PH Barton's opaque pen white ink. I use it a lot more than I use my Uniball pen anymore, just because it's way more opaque, and this cat needed a little bit of a nice shine to his eyes. And other than that, like, I think he turned out super cute. I don't have a name for him yet, so if you can come up with a name for our raincoat kitty, please put a comment down below and we'll see if we can find a name for this little guy. As you can see right here on the screen, there are 2 videos that you can check out if you want to see more art and hear me blab some more. And if you haven't yet, smash that subscribe button, become a sketchy, and keep on sketching, guys.